travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabocha, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
7:02.
The Clement Manyathela Show.
Let's walk the talk.
23 minutes now after 10 o'clock. Let's bring in Nathi Nhleko, who is the former Minister of Police. As I said to you earlier, I wanted to bring in someone who's been in these shoes, who can maybe share his own experience with us about criminal syndicates and their ability to infiltrate the SAPS. He joins us now on the line. Mr. Nhleko, thank you for making time for us. Good morning.
Yeah, hello, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. So, when you were police minister, did you at any point have to deal with this level of interference and criminal infiltration within the police? And I wanted you to come because we want to understand as South Africans whether are we just dealing here with a surface issue of allegations and counter allegations, or could there potentially be a bigger fight going on behind the scenes, either between criminal syndicates or drug cartels, and that's expressing itself through those that are appointed in these SAPS top echelons?
Now, look, I think we're dealing with a much more bigger problem than narrowly just the question of drug syndicates and criminal cartels and so on. The fact of the matter is that criminal formations will always try their best to crack into the system and so on. But there are three broader issues that, in the light of the recent developments, come to light. The first one is that this is a broader governance problem and governance failures on the one hand. In a sense that you have, for an example, existing institutions within our legal framework that fall within the state that should be in a position to do this kind of work. For an example, the conduct of the police is always investigated and subjected to an independent police investigative directorate and so on.
Yeah.
The conduct of the judiciary and related services is always under the auspices of the Judicial Services Commission and so forth. Now, so the fact that we're not using such instruments do want to suggest that we have governance failures within the system. That's the one aspect. The second one is that you also have the issue of the interface between political management and administration. And I think the issues that were raised by General uMkhonto, for instance, are largely within that area. The Constitution is quite clear, because there's also a historical context when we were writing the Constitution at the time, why we came out with, I think, Section 206 and Section 207. The question of political oversight falling under a civilian control, in other words, falling under a minister.
Yeah.
It's clearly informed by historical perspective that during the days of apartheid, we had a police state, and therefore it became critical that policing needed to be overseen from a civilian perspective and so on. Now, but operational control is with the National Commissioner. Now, the fact that we are a police minister or a minister of police, I think that's what it is called in the Constitution. The fact that we are a minister of police does not necessarily empower, empower you as an individual to direct operations of policing.
Yes.
Hope I'm making sense.
Yes, you are. And that's where the fault is seemingly is on the part of the Minister of Police, because he has sent out letters and he has not even clearly consulted and agreed here with the National Commissioner.
Exactly. That's the point. And that's why I'm raising the issue of the administrative interface between political management and administration. And we need to be quite careful of that. I think the third area of failure is that we are increasingly becoming a commissioned state.
Mm.
So you every time there's a problem, a commission is set up, but also nothing is realized out of such work of a commission, right? So you can run a list of no less than 10, 12 kind of commissions that have been there before, and also, but no action,
Yeah.
And that's a governance, and that's a governance problem.
Yeah.
So you think that as society we do need to take stock of this, because essentially the allegations, they are serious to an extent that all they do, they actually threaten the democratic outlook of our society.
Mm.
If you have elements that begin to point out that you have a judiciary, for an example, that is corrupted, or you have the police service that is corrupted, the prosecution arm of the state, a prosecutory arm of the state that is also corrupted, and so on. So clearly, the question of public confidence is completely undermined.
Let me ask about police ministers who often want to have their own police commissioners. How big of a dynamic is that? Because even in this case, we've seen it over in the past, whether during the time with Fikile Mbalula, with Becky Cele, with others before. It's almost like any police minister wants to have their preferred police commissioner. Help us understand that dynamic and why that's often the expectation.
No, if that is the case, that is the wrong approach altogether. First and foremost, police are professionals and they are loyal to policing as an institution. They are not loyal to you as a politician. And that's the line that needs to be drawn in between the two. A good policeman is always directed by what the legal prescripts are that dictate his or her function. And they're loyal to that. Now, and I think we should keep it that way. We should keep it that way. All you can do as a political operative is to deal with the issue of policy development, policy direction, and overseeing the operations and whether or not what police are doing is in tandem with the stated objectives, both of the Constitution, but also public expectation.
Mm.
And that's it, and leave it at that. So it wouldn't be a correct approach that if you appoint me today as a minister, therefore, it means I must go the direction of handing you around for you to leave 702 and become a national commissioner because I happen to like you or something. No, it can't be. It can't be correct an approach.
Yeah, got it. Nathi Nhleko, thank you so much for coming through with those insights from someone who has been in the belly of the beast, so to speak. Nathi Nhleko is the former Minister of Police.